Welcome back to Indy 500 Evolution, the third race of the 1965 season. The traditional stop after the Indianapolis 500 is the Milwaukee 100, and we are qualifying right now for that race. AJ Foyt on the pole at 122 miles per hour. Of course, at the Indianapolis 500, Jim Hurtubise goes to the pole in a front-engine roadster, and now Arnie Knepper makes sure that it's right now a roadster lockout. I won the Indianapolis 500 in 1965, spoiler alert. So at the moment, I'm in a tie for the season-long point standings with Don Branson, as Lloyd Ruby goes to the front in a rear engine. I believe that is a Huffaker, or not a Huffaker, I can't remember the Hallobrand chassis. Don Branson, my championship rival, is now second, well, now third, because Bill Cheeseburg goes to the pole position. He actually started at the back, and Mario Andretti goes to the front row. Parnelli Jones goes to second on the grid, and it will be up to me next to make a qualification attempt. So you know that we like to do things a little unorthodox in this career mode, and this is a fairly unorthodox thing to do, at least for back in these days. Since I won the Indianapolis 500 in 1965, I've decided to retire the car that won it. That is the Bronner with the Ford engine. However, Milwaukee takes place immediately after the Indianapolis 500, so with little time to order a new chassis or press another one into service quickly, I had to revert to my 1963 Lotus and equip it with the 1965 upgrades. Can this car be competitive in a field that is 2 years younger than it for the most part? This will be an interesting challenge. Let's see where we stack up on the grid. All right, doing something incredibly crazy here at Milwaukee. I have won at this track in this car before. It was the last race, or one of the last races of the 1963 season, but the tides have turned quite a bit since this car was particularly modern. So we're going to see what kind of pace it has as I decide to go on board there because I missed the gear button. As we now go into fourth gear, down the main straightaway, up a gear, and going to take the green flag on the warm-up lap here. So you may be confused as to why it was such an out-of-the-ordinary thing to retire cars that won big races. Well, back in these days, people weren't very sentimental for race cars. It was a tool to get the job done to a certain extent, and if you won a race with a car, you just said, oh, that's a fast car, we'll keep it around, and modify it and upgrade it, and eventually chuck it out. Well, we're going to change that up a little bit, because a lot of times, these Milwaukee races are a little bit boring with me pulling away from the rest of the field easily, so we're going to try to qualify somewhere mid-pack and try to work our way up in a very old car. Now, this isn't out of the ordinary. In fact, drivers used to do this all the time. AJ Foyt once famously qualified a midget, aka a dirt car, before you can start yelling at me for using terms in the comments, on the pole here at Milwaukee, and very nearly won the race. And 118 miles an hour is actually slower on that lap, so that is not going to get me a very good qualifying position. So we need to try to qualify this Lotus a little higher up the field as I get on the throttle very early on out of turn 2 and down the back straightaway. A nice upshift there. I do have modern parts, like I said, on this car. The Ford engine is modern, as well as the 5-speed transmission. But again, the chassis is older, the tires aren't as wide, development has moved on. Where's my speed? 119. Yeah, that's back of the pack. So it's lucky 13th for me on the starting grid. Just for reference, I qualified at 125 miles an hour last year. The pole position this year is 123. So Cheeseburg did not set a track record with his pole position for the 1965 Milwaukee 100, but I think we'll let that slide, as I will, of course, run off 13th. Let's take a look at the starting grid. Cheeseburg, Jones, Andretti, Gurney, Unser, Ruby, Branson, Knepper, Hurtubise, those two cars, the front engine ones that qualified 8th and 9th. John Cock is also in a front engine car, and again, we're right, I mean smack dab in the middle of this 22 car field. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. Milwaukee usually gets very crazy in the middle of the pack. Can I have the race pace that I didn't necessarily have in qualifying? Let's find out.
Here we are at the Milwaukee Mile, the oldest speedway in the world, with auto racing taking place here since 1903. The grandstands offer great views of the track, and the 1 mile course offers great driving for the competitors.
So the goal here is mainly to get some points, but certainly don't lose positions as we're coming up to speed and getting the green flag at the Milwaukee Mile. Running into first turn, well, there you go, Billy Foster already snuck it up the inside. Ronnie Duman trying to go down there as well. We made a little bit of contact. He's going to get that inside lane. They definitely got a good jump on me on that start. Unfortunately, I didn't really get to control the car all the way until the green flag came out, and then I forgot to shift down the back straightaway, which did not help my speed advantage there as cars getting into each other up in front. Big push out of turn 4. And we're just going to have to try to get into a rhythm here. Got a car, George Snyder, all the way up the rear of me. And he's going to make that pass too, so the purple car's going very fast. You can see my speed in the corners, just unable to match him on the straightaway. Snyder's upset. Woo! I used him up there on the exit, and now we're going to get past ball. Oh, 3 wide down into turn 3 with McCluskey and Johnny Boyd absolutely sending it up the inside. And there's a crash behind. So I'm going to get a run on McCluskey there. Couldn't get him around him. Down a gear. On the throttle. Going to try to get a run out of here. I am back to 18th spot. This is not even close to where I usually am in these races. So this is definitely a different change of pace for me. Oh, they're crashing. They're crashing. John Cock in the wall. Another car in the wall. 2 cars. So this is a very similar race to the Milwaukee 200, which is usually an absolute carnage fest. And this one is turning out to be that same way. So despite the fact that the reigning Indy 500 champ is running at the back, I'm still gaining some positions right now as the snake, as it were, is kind of snaking its way down the back straight there. So it looks like I am catching up to these guys just ever so slightly. But then I pushed up there in turn 3 as John Cock is limping his way back to the pits. The cars behind me not quite catching, but the cars in front of me are starting to pull away just a little bit, so I need to get on it here. Oh, they're side by side out in front. McCluskey and Johnny Boyd side by side up there. Rhodey's starting to close me down here. And everybody in that big pack up in front is looking like they may get into each other. Not the 4-car pack, but the 3-car pack. They're all running very close together right now. Well, it'd be nice if Branson doesn't score any points, because it looks like at the moment I'm not going to be scoring any points, but we'll see how it goes. Rhodey's still not closing down all that much. So I'm just going to lift off the throttle. Maybe the shifting is not helping me very much. We'll see as I get the run off of the corner.
No fuel this time for car number
No, not as good. Not as good as John Cock is coming out of the pits in his Roadster. So definitely need to downshift for the torque off of the corner. It's always fun to struggle in this game, but we're really struggling right now. It's so hard to get the balance of performance right between the players' speed and the rest of the field. And the leader, or the cars in front of me, I shouldn't say the leaders, the cars in front of me have extended their gap to nearly 2 seconds. So I've got to try to continue to drive very smoothly here to try to gain some of that time back. 1.8 seconds, still the gap. Didn't really gain on that lap, but didn't lose anything. I'm looking at the gap to Rhodey as well. That'll tell me if I'm running well, and right now I am. I did gain a little bit on McCluskey as well. What I'd really like is those guys up in front of me to get side by side, so I can try to take advantage of the situation and sneak underneath a few of them. But right now it's not quite working out for me. Rhodey's closing in a little bit. It seems like they have a lot more top end speed. I question whether or not the game actually gave me the 65 engine or it just said it did. Because this car just doesn't quite have it at the top end of the straightaway. Relative to the other cars, as I'm going to push out real wide out of turn 1. Had to block Rody there through the center of the corner. Up a gear. 2 seconds behind. And really sending it into turn 3. That's not good. No bueno. No bueno. Don't hit the wall. Don't hit the wall. Oh, I am on the struggle bus right now. Rody looking. Wow, I think he shook his fist at me. He is not appreciating this right now. I suspect I'm creating a rivalry with Chuck Rody. Similar to my NASCAR videos. Goodness gracious. Alright, we're almost halfway through the race. And this is just a completely different way of going about this game than I usually am used to. So I'm driving right up next to the wall. This time, pretty good exit. Go up a gear. Mario Andretti and Al Unser Sr. are up in the field. They're up into the top 3 spots. And I'm trying to see where Branson is, because that's really the key. Is he behind me? No, he's not. But AJ Foyt is. AJ Foyt has been in trouble, so the driver who qualified up at the front is not at the front right now. As here comes Rody, still looking back there, as well as Joe Leonard. Branson is running 5th, so he's going to get some points, which is not going to help me out very much. Oh, look at Rody all over the back of me. Trying to get a space to come through and pass me. Well, it's a great battle for 16th spot. It's just not particularly for much in the way of points, or really even prestige for that matter. As it turns out, running a 2-year-old car at Milwaukee is not a guarantee of victory. As we're going to get Rody right down the inside. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, that was stupid. That was a dirty move by me. And we're going to go on top of him. This is, that's a compromising position. And I lost a single spot. And I suspect the leaders are going to start coming through any moment now. And Joe Leonard was the beneficiary of that little exchange between me and Rody. The rivalry between us is starting to really heat up. As we got now 10 laps to go. The last lap was 89 miles an hour. I'm surprised it was that fast. Oh, Rody really taking a swipe at me right there. Well, this is definitely different. And I think that is, I'm not sure who that is behind me. It's not Cheeseburg, because Cheeseburg is running a white car, and there goes Rody down to the inside. Is he going to be able to pull the pass off, though, this time? Not right now. We're going to give him a bump draft down the main straightaway, and he finally gets through. And finally, we're going to be all by our lonesome here. Well, maybe. And that does look like there is some battling going on for the lead. I believe those cars behind me are the leaders. So theoretically, they're going to be coming through and lapping us at the front of the field, or at the back of the field, I should say. And can the driver who is second right now, Mario Andretti, take his first national championship win? That will be interesting, because he's just 1 second behind the car of Bill Cheeseburg. And running right down next to the grass is me. Gonna try to get the drive off, catch a little bit of dirt. Right out next to the wall, just a little bit. And I think the car's damaged a little bit, because I hear it on the straightaway kind of going rum, 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 rum. Yep, it's not quite healthy, this Lotus. Not quite healthy indeed. As I head off of the corner onto the back straightaway, and yes, Cheeseburg is closing the gap, and he's going to be in heavy lap traffic here between me and Rody. And then later on, he's going to be seeing the car of Joe Leonard. So this is going to be the blue flags are going to be coming out for Mr. David, and I've got to try. There, yeah, there you go, blue flag, and Cheeseburg's already upset with the fact that I did not immediately yield position to him. So we're going to go wide out here. Let Cheeseburg down to the inside. Now I'm going to sneak in behind Cheeseburg as he kind of goes slowly off of turn 4. We'll try to use Cheeseburg to get back up into the fight here, but it's not really working out, is it? You can just see how much more cornering speed he has on me at the moment, as my car's just not getting up to speed properly. Just not getting up to speed properly. And we've already got 5 laps to go, so this 100-mile race goes by very quickly. As Mario Andretti looking behind me, but it looks like right now Cheeseburg has got it in the bag. He's about to put 2-lap cars between himself and Mario Andretti. I'm running consistently in the 118, 119 mile per hour range, but it's just not fast enough. These drivers and teams clearly have extended their gap a little bit, or not extended their gap, but expanded their capabilities in terms of going faster on the Milwaukee Mile. Usually I run away with this race, and not today. Here comes Mario up the inside. He should be clear in another Bronner. That is a Bronner I do not have access to, unfortunately. But he's definitely proving that chassis, and contact, a crash, 2 cars into the wall, and one of them is Cheeseburg. And then I hit Rody. I've lost my front end, getting caught up in the crash, but right now it's 2 rookies out in front, Mario Andretti and Al Unser Sr. Unbelievable. The leader gets taken out in lap traffic with 4 laps to go, and Mario is the beneficiary. Right now, Mario Andretti leads here at Milwaukee. Is he going to get his maiden IndyCar victory, or is Al Unser Sr. going to have something to say about it, as my Lotus has taken really a big knock? You can see the rear engine cowling is upset, and the front engine cowling, the nose cone of the car is completely knocked off. Completely knocked off. As I'm going to go through turn number 4 with 3 laps to go, really 2 laps to go for me. As we cross the line, we actually pass Bill Cheeseburg. We're going to come around Rody here, who has come into the pits. I'm going to nurse my car back to the finish because we've only got 1 lap to go, but AJ Foyt's coming up behind me, so this is for position. This is for 16th spot. Can I hold off AJ Foyt with a damaged car? That's going to be the question. This is the last couple of corners as I get down way too deep into the corner. Here comes AJ down to the inside. Is SuperTech's going to be able to pass me? Yes, he is. AJ goes up into 17th spot, and I will take 17th, or he gets 16th, I get 17th. Look at that damage to that Lotus. Oh dear. Deary, deary me. That was an interesting race, but wow, Bill Cheeseburg actually hates me. Wow, he was really upset about the lap car situation. If he hates me for what I did, I would be wonder what he thinks of Chuck Rody after that crash. But Mario Andretti wins his first championship car race, taking the win over Al Unser Sr. and Don Branson, who finishes in 3rd spot and will extend his, I believe, his championship lead. We'll have to see where it all stacks up with Mario in terms of the championship here in just a second. So let's take a look at the national championship standings after 3 races. So the national championship standings after 3 races see Don Branson take a 6-point lead in the championship, well, over me, a 2-point lead over Lloyd Ruby. Mario Andretti moves up to 3rd. I fall down to 4th after scoring 0 points in race number 3. Al Unser Sr., who hates me for some reason, is now 5th. Parnelli Jones 6th. Jim Clark 7th after only participating in 1 race. Al Miller is in 8th. Jim Hurtubise 9th with 4 points. Haskin, Gurney, Cheeseburg, and Boyd, along with Knepper and Rutherford, have all scored points. So 15 points have been scored, or 15 drivers have scored points, which points to a fairly competitive season so far. And next up is Langhorne, Puke Hollow, and hopefully I'll have a slightly more modern car to take to that race and try to kind of claw back a bit of a championship lead. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been David Land on YouTube, and we'll see you at Langhorne for the next race in Indy 500 Evolution.